Hello students. The next topic from the chapter of pelvis is pelvic fascia. What does fascia means? The fatty layer. Fascia means the fatty layer. Now in relation to pelvic muscles and viscera, there are layers of fascia that are collectively referred to as pelvic fascia. So pelvic fascia is in relation with the pelvic muscles and the viscera. This pelvic fascia is in relation with the pelvic muscles and the viscera. The pelvic fascia, it consists of two main parts. The parietal layer, it lines the pelvic muscles, and the visceral layer, it surrounds the viscera. Okay, so the parietal layer, it lines the pelvic muscles, and the visceral layer, it surrounds the individual viscera. So the two parts, okay, of pelvic fascia are parietal, that is lining the pelvic muscles, and visceral, that is lining the viscera. So pelvic muscles, the parietal pelvic, it is lining the pelvic muscles. The parietal layer, it is subdivided into the four parts: obturator fascia, fascia over piriformis, fascia over levator ani, and presacral fascia. So parietal fascia is subdivided into four: obturator fascia, fascia over piriformis, fascia over levator ani, and presacral fascia. Visceral layer is again subdivided into endopelvic fascia and paravisceral fascia. So visceral is subdivided into endopelvic fascia and paravisceral fascia. So this is the subdivision of pelvic fascia: parietal and visceral. Parietal lines the pelvic muscles. They are obturator fascia, fascia over piriformis, fascia over levator ani, and presacral. Visceral fascia, it lines the viscera. It is subdivided into endopelvic fascia and paravisceral fascia. Okay. Now we'll talk further about this fascia. The parietal fascia, it covers the piriformis and the obturator internus. It is thick and is called obturator fascia. Now you all know I have talked about piriformis muscle and the obturator internus muscle in my previous video. So the fascia which covers this both the muscles, okay, that fascia is known as obturator fascia. So if you remember this is the diagram. Okay, these are the levator ani muscles and the ischiococcygis. Okay, now the piriformis. Okay, so this is the diagram of obturator internus muscle. Okay, obturator internus. Yes, so the fascia which covers the obturator internus muscle and the piriformis. This is piriformis, as I have explained in my previous video. This is piriformis. So the fascia covering the piriformis and the fascia which is covering the obturator internus muscle. Okay, so this is obturator internus. This is the obturator fascia. It is very thick fascia. Okay. The pelvic diaphragm is covered by one layer of fascia above it and another below. So pelvic diaphragm consists of levator ani muscle and coccygeus, as you all know this. Now this levator ani is covered by one layer of fascia above it and one layer of fascia below it. So levator ani would be in middle. One layer of fascia is covering above and one layer of fascia is covering below. Okay, so this is, if you take, this is in short, if you take levator ani muscle. Okay, if you take levator ani, this muscle, okay, levator ani. So one fascia is above it, okay, and one fascia is below it. So this parietal fascia, yes, this is the parietal fascia which is lining the pelvic muscles. One fascia is above the pelvic diaphragm, that is the levator ani, and the coccygeus, yes, and one layer is below it. Okay, so levator ani would be in between. So one layer of parietal fascia is above the levator ani or the pelvic diaphragm, and one layer of fascia would be below the pelvic diaphragm. Clear? So this is it. Now if we see here, when traced medially, the upper layer blends with the fascia of the viscera that pierces the diaphragm. Now if you see in this diagram also, this is the coronal section through the anterior part of the pelvic diaphragm in male. Now this is the levator ani muscle. Okay, this is the levator ani. This is obturator internus, and this is the levator ani, that is the pelvic diaphragm. So one layer it is above, you can see one layer is above and one layer is below. So the above, okay, this is above layer, it is blending, if you see, it is blending with the visceral layer of pelvic fascia. It is blending with the visceral layer of pelvic fascia. Okay, so one layer of the parietal fascia is below the pelvic diaphragm, that is levator ani, and one layer is above the pelvic diaphragm, that is levator ani, and the above one it blends with the visceral layer of pelvic fascia. Okay, clear? Laterally, the superior layer merges with the obturator fascia and reinforces its upper part. So laterally, if you see, it is laterally, it merges with the obturator fascia. So laterally it is, this is medially. So medial it is merging, the upper layer is merging with the visceral layer of pelvic fascia, and laterally, see, laterally the upper layer is merging with the obturator fascia. Yes, obturator fascia laterally, and medially to the visceral layer of pelvic fascia. Clear? The fascia below the pelvic diaphragm lines the medial wall of the ischiorectal fossa. So now we'll talk about the fascia below the diaphragm. Below the pelvic diaphragm, it is blending with the ischiorectal fossa. Now if you see, this is levator ani. Yes, this is levator ani. This is the upper surface of the parietal fascia lining the upper surface of the levator ani, and parietal fascia lining the lower surface of the levator ani. So upper surface medially it blends with the visceral fascia, and laterally it blends with the obturator fascia. Okay, and the lower surface of the levator ani, which is lined by the parietal fascia, it blends with the ischiorectal fossa here. It is in communication with the ischiorectal fossa. So pelvic diaphragm or levator ani, the upper surface is lined by the parietal fascia, as well as the lower surface is lined by the parietal fascia, the upper and the lower part. The upper part, if you take medially and laterally, medially it blends with the visceral layer, and laterally it blends with the obturator fascia, upper surface, and the lower surface of the parietal fascia lying the lower surface of the levator ani, it is in relation with the ischiorectal fossa. Very clear? Okay. Now, lines the more anterior merges with the superior fascia of the urogenital diaphragm. Okay. So this was about the, in short, about the parietal fascia. Now, the pelvic fascia consists of two main parts, the parietal and visceral. The parietal layer lines the pelvic muscles, and the visceral surrounds the individual viscera. Now, we'll talk about the parietal pelvic fascia in detail. The four are obturator fascia, fascia over piriformis, fascia over levator ani, okay, and the presacral fascia. So, these are the fascia of the parietal layer. Now, first we'll take the obturator fascia. The parietal pelvic fascia covering the obturator internus muscle is called as obturator fascia. So the fascia covering the obturator internus muscle. This is in front view, this is the back view of the obturator internus muscle. Its origin, insertion I have described in detail in my previous video. Okay. So obturator fascia is covering the obturator internus muscle. About it extends between the arcuate line, okay, of ilium and back of pubis, and is continuous with the iliac fossa. What they want to say is this obturator internus muscle is covered by obturator fascia, and this fascia above, it is continuous with the body of the pubis arcuate line, and it blends with the iliac fossa, iliac fascia covering the iliac fossa. So this obturator fascia covering the obturator internus muscle, it goes above to the body of the pubis, the arcuate line, and the iliac fossa, where it blends with the iliac fascia. Okay. It invests the obturator canal, and behind the obturator canal it is aponeurotic and gives firm attachment to levator ani. Okay. Now behind the obturator canal, now this is an obturator canal would be here. Okay. So behind the obturator canal, if we take the pelvis, this is the obturator foramen. Okay. So behind the obturator canal, okay, it is in the form of tendinous arch. Okay, it becomes aponeurotic. It becomes aponeurotic. So if you are taking from inside, this is the front view. From inside, okay, the pelvic outlet area, it becomes aponeurotic. Okay, it becomes aponeurotic, and it gives firm attachment to levator ani. It gives firm attachment to levator ani. Okay, so it becomes a tendinous arch. Okay, inside the obturator canal. Inside the obturator canal. So if we take the posterior view here, this is the obturator foramen. So from inside, here would be the pelvic floor muscle. So from inside, okay, it forms a tendinous arch. Okay. So this is the outlet. Okay. This is pubic symphysis. Okay. Here is, you can see the white line. So behind the obturator canal, it is aponeurotic, and it is converted into tendinous arch of levator ani. That is arcus tendinus musculi levatoris ani, or it is also known as white line. Okay, so this is the back part of the obturator fascia. It is in the form of a line. This is in the form of a line, and it gives attachment to the levator ani. Below the attachment, the obturator fascia is thin. This part of fascia forms part of the lateral wall of the ischioanal fossa posteriorly and merges with the fascia of the muscles of deep perineal space anteriorly. So just remember this way, that obturator internus muscle is covered, that is the obturator internus muscle is covered by obturator fascia, and above it is continuous with the body of the pubis, the arcuate line, and it blends with the iliac fascia at the level of iliac fossa. Okay, and this obturator internus muscle, if we take from inside, that is the obturator canal. Okay, this is the obturator internus. So if we take the obturator canal, okay, from inside, it forms a tendinous arch, and it gives attachment to the pelvic floor muscles. You all know this, which are the pelvic floor muscles, which is giving origin to this obturator fascia or white line or tendinous arch. Okay, now we'll go towards the fascia over piriformis. The fascia over the inner aspect of the piriformis is very thin and fuses with the periosteum on the front of the sacrum. Okay, so this is the piriformis in front. Okay, you know the origin, the insertion of the piriformis. Though, so the fascia over the inner aspect, okay, this is the front view. So the inner aspect of the piriformis is very thin and it fuses with the periosteum on front of the sacrum. So it is fusing with the periosteum on front of the sacrum. Okay. So here there is presence of internal iliac vessels and its branches and the sacral nerves. So between the piriformis muscle and the fascia covering the piriformis, there is internal iliac vessels and their branches and the sacral nerves. Okay, so this is covering the piriformis, the fascia covering the piriformis muscle, and it is blending with the periosteum and it is merging with the periosteum of the sacrum. What is periosteum? That is the covering of the bone. Okay, now we'll proceed further to the fascia of the levator ani. The fascia over levator ani covers both the surfaces of the pelvic diaphragm, that is levator ani. It is covering both the surfaces, the superior surface as well as the inferior surface. So it is covering both the surfaces of the pelvic floor muscles, that is the pelvic diaphragm. Okay, so if you take the pelvic floor muscles, it will cover the superior surface. Okay, the above surface is covered and also below. So if this is a muscle, I have explained you here, this is the levator ani. So it is covering the superior surface, it is covering the inferior surface. Okay, on the inferior surface the fascia is thin and forms the medial wall of the ischioanal fossa. So if you take on the inferior surface, okay, on the inferior surface the fascia is thin and it forms the medial wall of the ischioanal fossa. So in the inferior surface, I have shown you here, this is the upper surface, this is the inferior surface. So on the inferior surface the fascia is thin and it is in connection with the ischiorectal or the ischioanal fossa. This is the ischium and this is the anus and this is the rectum. So there is a fossa in between, a gap. So ischioanal fossa, the inferior surface. Okay, so on the inferior surface the fascia is thin and forms the medial wall of the ischioanal fossa. So if this is the ischioanal fossa, okay, this is the anus and this is the ischium, this is ischioanal fossa. So this fascia on the inferior surface of the levator ani, this green line, dotted line, this fascia on the inferior surface of the levator ani is forming the medial wall, okay, of the ischioanal fossa. If this is the fossa here, it is forming the medial wall of the ischioanal fossa. Clear? Medially, it blends with the fascia over the urethral and external anal sphincter, and laterally it is continuous with the obturator fascia below the tendinous arch of levator ani. So medially, okay, medially the fascia is over the urethral and external anal sphincter. So medially the fascia is in connection with the sphincter ani, okay, external anal sphincter. Okay, it is in connection with the external anal sphincter, and also it is in connection with the urethral sphincter. Okay, so the inferior surface of the fascia covering the levator ani, okay, lining the levator ani, is in relation with the ischioanal fossa and it blends with the anal sphincter and the urethra. Okay, on the superior surface, and it is continuous with the obturator fascia below the tendinous arch. So if you can see here, it is then this lower, it is in continuous with the obturator fascia. So this will continue down with the obturator fascia. This will continue down with the, this is obturator internus and the lining would be obturator fascia. So it is continuous with the obturator fascia. The superior surface, on the superior surface the fascia is thick. Inferior surface the fascia is thin. The superior surface of the levator ani, the fascia is thick. Anteriorly it is attached to the posterior surface of the body of the pubis, extending over the superior rami and then becomes continuous with the obturator fascia. So on the superior surface, if you see, this is the superior surface. Okay, this is the superior surface. So this is pubic arch. Okay, so the superior surface, if you see here, this is the superior surface. So what they are saying, on the superior surface the fascia is thick. Anteriorly it is attached to the posterior surface of the body of the pubis, extending over the superior rami. Okay, so it is in connection with the pubis. This is pubic arch, this is pubic arch, so here would be the pubis. So anteriorly it is in close relation with the pubis. Okay, anteriorly it is in close relation with the pubis. Okay, this is the acetabulum, so here would be the pubis. Okay, this is the pubic arch. So anteriorly it is in close relation with the body of the pubis and rami. Posteriorly it continues over the fascia covering the piriformis and the anococcygeal ligament. So posteriorly it is in continuation with the piriformis and the anococcygeal ligament. So posteriorly it will be in connection with the piriformis and the anococcygeal ligament. Okay, now if you see this diagram here for better understanding, on the superior surface the fascia is thick. Anteriorly this fascia, okay, anteriorly if we talk, anteriorly this fascia is attached to the posterior surface of the body of the pubis. So if we take the levator ani, these are the levator ani muscles, as you all know. This is the levator ani. Okay, this is the anteriorly if we take, okay, superior surface. It is anteriorly on the front side it is attached to the body, posterior surface of the body of the pubis. So this is the posterior surface of the body of the pubis. This is anteriorly. Okay, and the over the superior rami of the pubis, and then becomes continuous with the obturator fascia. Okay, it continues with the obturator fascia, and posteriorly it is this fascia, it continues over the fascia of the piriformis. So this is the piriformis muscle. This is the piriformis muscle. So superior surface if we take, anteriorly it is with the relation with the body of the pubis, posterior surface of the body of the pubis and the superior rami as well as the obturator fascia, and posteriorly it is in relation with the fascia covering the piriformis. Okay, this is the fascia covering the piriformis. Okay, and the anococcygeal ligament. You all know where is the anococcygeal ligament, and medially it blends with the visceral pelvic fascia. Okay, so medially it blends with the visceral pelvic fascia. So if we take this diagram, upper, okay, so upper surface is medial, it is blending with the visceral fascia. Okay, medial it is blending with the visceral fascia, and laterally with the pubic symphysis, posterior surface, laterally it would be with the obturator internus. Okay, superior surface, and anteriorly would be the posterior surface of the body of the pubis and the superior rami, and posteriorly would be the piriformis. Okay, so if we take this way, the superior surface, okay, the superior surface, okay, so if we take, this is the levator ani pelvic diaphragm, anteriorly to the attached to the posterior surface of the body of the pubis, extending over the superior rami and then becomes continuous with the obturator fascia. Okay, posteriorly it continues with the piriformis and the anococcygeal ligament, and medially it is continuous with the viscera. So anterior, posterior and medially, these are the superior surface. Okay, Over the superomedial aspect of the upper fascia over levator, and a thick wide band of condensed connective tissue extends from the lower part of the pubic symphysis to the inferior margin of the ischial spine. This we are talking about the obturator fascia. Okay, it forms a white line. As you all know, what is a white line or tendinous arch? So it is extending from the posterior surface of the pubis to the ischial spines. You can see here. Okay. And this obturator fascia, okay, the white line or tendinous arch, it gives attachment to the levator ani, the iliococcygeus, pubococcygeus and the ischiococcygeus muscle, which I have already mentioned in my previous video. Okay. So this was about the fascia over the levator ani. Next is the presacral fascia. The presacral fascia forms hammock-like structure posteriorly. It extends laterally between the fascia covering the piriformis and levator ani. So presacral fascia. So if we take the presacral fascia just in front of the sacrum, extends laterally between the fascia covering the piriformis and the levator ani. So this is presacral fascia. Laterally is the piriformis and the levator ani. Yes. So laterally would be piriformis and levator ani. Inferiorly, it extends up to the anorectal junction and blends with the anococcygeal ligament. So inferiorly, you all know where is the anorectal junction and anococcygeal ligament. So inferiorly, the presacral fascia is blending with this anorectal junction and anococcygeal ligament. Superiorly, it extends up to the origin of the superior hypogastric plexus. So above is the superior hypogastric plexus. Right and left hypogastric nerves and the inferior hypogastric plexus lie over the fascia and the presacral veins lie deeper too. This is the presacral fascia. So this is laterally, it is in relation or blending with the piriformis and levator ani. Below this fascia, it extends up to the anorectal junction and it blends with anococcygeal ligament. Superiorly, it blends or it extends up to the superior hypogastric plexus. Okay. Where is the superior hypogastric plexus? You all know where it is present. Just go through my talk on the autonomic nerves of the abdomen. The right and left hypogastric nerve and the inferior hypogastric plexus, these are lying over the fascia. Okay, and presacral veins lie deeper to it. Okay. So this was about the parietal fascia. Now the last fascia we'll talk about is the visceral pelvic fascia. The visceral, which is lining the viscera. The visceral pelvic fascia is formed from condensation of connective tissue closely related to the pelvic viscera. So surrounding the viscera, there is connective tissue, and all this connective tissue, they join together, they condenses to form visceral fascia. Okay, and there are associated neurovascular structures. Laterally, it is derived from the fascia covering the superior surface of the levator ani and posteriorly from the fascia covering the piriformis. This also we have talked about the superior surface of the levator ani. Okay, if you see here in the diagram, so the superior surface of the levator ani, it blends with the visceral layer of the pelvic fascia. So the superior surface, okay, the superior surface. So laterally, it is between the fascia covering the piriformis and the levator ani. Okay, so it extends laterally between the fascia covering the piriformis and the levator ani. Laterally, it is derived from the fascia covering the superior surface of the levator ani and posteriorly from the fascia covering the piriformis. So laterally, if you see, it is in continuation. This is the visceral fascia. So laterally, it is in continuation with the superior surface fascia covering the levator ani. Lateral, we are talking about visceral fascia. So laterally is in superior surface fascia covering the levator ani. Okay, and this fascia posteriorly, okay, posteriorly from the fascia covering the piriformis. So posteriorly would be from the fascia covering the piriformis muscle. This piriformis muscle is from the sacral vertebrae. So posteriorly it will blend with the piriformis. Okay. The condensations where all these fascia meet are collectively known as endopelvic fascia. So all these fascia which meets collectively is known as endopelvic fascia. The portions of the visceral pelvic fascia adjacent to the pelvic viscera form paravisceral fascia. So visceral pelvic fascia which is very close to the pelvic organs is known as paravisceral. Para means on either side and surrounding the viscera, and are named according to the viscera. Thus they are known as parametrium. Parametrium is around the uterus. Paracolpus is around the vagina. So paravisceral fascia which is surrounding the viscera is parametrium, which is around the uterus, and around the vagina it is known as paracolpus. Several condensations of endopelvic fascia are present in the pelvis. This provides important support to the viscera. So this is providing support to the viscera. Endopelvic is a condensation of the connective tissue of the viscera, and paravisceral is surrounding the specific viscera, and the name is given according to the organ. Now, the periurethral connective tissue, okay. So, periurethral connective tissue condenses to form pubourethral and uteropelvic ligaments, which are attached to the white line of the parietal pelvic fascia. White line is the obturator fascia. At the cervico-vaginal junction, the endopelvic fascia condenses to form McEnroth's ligament, pubocervical and uterosacral ligaments. Okay, so there is comparatively less condensation of connective tissue around the rectum. Okay, so this was about the visceral pelvic fascia. Endopelvic fascia is condensation of the connective tissues. Paravisceral fascia is surrounding the viscera. Okay, and as per the names of the organs, the viscera has been named. Okay, and the visceral pelvic fascia, okay, it is laterally derived from the fascia covering the superior surface. What is the lateral boundary? The superior surface of the levator ani. So the lateral boundary, if we take the superior surface of the levator ani, it forms the lateral boundary of the visceral layer of pelvic fascia. Okay, lateral boundary. Okay, and posteriorly from the fascia covering piriformis. Okay, so posteriorly from the fascia covering the piriformis. Okay, so the visceral fascia, okay, it is derived, you see here, from the superior surface. Okay, it is from the superior surface of the levator ani. Okay, and posteriorly from the fascia of the piriformis fascia. Okay, so laterally it is derived from the fascia covering the levator ani, the superior surface, and posteriorly from the fascia covering the piriformis. Okay, so again laterally this visceral pelvic fascia on the lateral side, it is derived from the fascia covering the superior surface of the levator ani, and posteriorly from the fascia covering the piriformis. Okay, so all this fascia provides support to the pelvic viscera. The presacral fascia serves as a landmark during surgeries because there are a lot of nerves present here. Extension of rectal tumors through the presacral fascia reduces the possibility of curative surgery. So when the rectal tumors, it extends up to the presacral fascia, there is no possibility of curative surgery. Okay, so main thing is it supports the pelvic viscera. Okay, so this was all about the pelvic fascia. Thank you, students.